With the date for the presidential election drawing closer, the election platform is certainly heating up. Good evening and welcome to the news. I'm Sonali Manigabadage.
And I'm Shahan Jarampati. A very good evening to you. Let's start off a look at tonight's headlines.
UPFA holds maiden presidential campaign rally in Anuradhapura. Thisatha Nayaka, the new Minister of Health. I am ready to sacrifice my life for the people's freedom and democracy, a statement from opposition common candidate Maithripala Sirisena. Former Deputy General Secretary of the JHU Udaya Gammanpila defects to support the President.
The United People's Freedom Alliance launched its presidential campaign today with its inaugural rally in Anuradhapura. Now, the rally was held under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
The inaugural rally was held at the Salgadu grounds in Anuradhapura and also saw the participation of several ministers and MPs. In all their speeches, they say they want a change in the constitution. I can change the constitution with your mandate. This presidential election is one which will decide on the future of this country. This goes more deeper than that. So they have nothing to say today. We told them if you take one from us, we will take one from you. They took our secretary, so we took theirs. These people are trying to make offers in dollars. That is not how we spend. Now they are trying to sling mud at us. We did not offer him anything. We only offered him a cup of coffee, and he is now with us. In this situation, our people are making phone calls to them and asking how many more defected. They just keep lying. General Secretary of the JHU and former Minister of the current administration, Partli Champiku Ranawaka, says that the government is bankrupt. He made his statement at a meeting in Panadura yesterday.
This meeting was presided by opposition common candidate Maithripala Sirisena and was held at the Panadura town last evening. Maithripala Sirisena was extended a warm welcome by the crowd of supporters.
I wish to pledge that I will willingly sacrifice my life for the freedom and democracy of the people rather than living in fear and in weakness. As a politician who set foot on this land and continues to walk on this land, after my resounding victory, I will never step into the presidential palace or temple trees. I will never set foot into any regional house built for the head of state. I can engage in the presidential activities from the presidential secretariat.
There is no security in this country, nor there is any law and order. The economy has collapsed, yet they speak of miracles and development. However, what we get to hear from the people are stories of sorrow. This is the status of the country today. This is the reality that the people face. The country needs to be rescued from this situation, and we are attempting to stabilize this country.
I request the whole country to pay gratitude. Friends, we defected in order to end the rule which brought in smugglers, the rule of Rajapaksa on the 8th. We realized that although we were elected to parliament with hundreds of thousands of votes and held ministerial portfolios, it was not us who were administering the country. Today this country is being governed by a 5-point brigade. The first brigade is the casino brigade. The second is the heroin brigade. The third is the ethanol brigade. The fourth is the cigarette mafia. And the fifth is the arsenic mafia that forces poison onto the farmers. They waited for the people to start dying and said that 3,000 rupees will be given from the budget for kidney diseases. This is like killing the people and providing the family with the coffin. The 3,000 rupees is yet to be given to the people.
අද වෙනකන් 3000 ගෙවල නැහැ එකෙකුටවත්. අපි ආනෝ සම සමාජකාරයන්ගේ මේ නායකයන්ට ලැජ්ජා.
I wish to tell these people from the NSSP that if their leaders have any shame, they must resign immediately. When N.M. Pereira and Colvinar Silva joined with the SLFP, we said that it was a betrayal. Today, it is sickening to call it a betrayal when you look at what Vasudeva Nanayakkara and Diu Gunasekara are doing to destroy this country. They have not even read about Marxism.
අයන්නවත් කියලා නැහැ කියලා තමයි අපිට සින්නේ.
යුද ජයග්‍රහණයට මොකද්ද මේ රජය කරන්නේ?
What is the government doing with regards to the war victory? The three armed forces and police have been shredded. Recently, a relief of 50,000 rupees was given for motorcycles. However, only the police were entitled to these motorcycles. The Army, Air Force and the Navy are not entitled to it. They have been cornered. They are not given this relief. Similarly, they are cornering the police and providing other things for the three armed forces. I request you all to put a full stop to this and create a prosperous country.
මම දේශයක් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ හම්බුණා. හම්බෙලා කතා කරගත්ත පොදු අපේක්ෂකයා.
I met with Ranil Wickramasinghe and spoke about the common candidate. I explained everything to him. He agreed to what I said. He wanted me to look for a common candidate. He withdrew from the race. I met with Chandrika Kumaratunga at 1:30 in the morning. I did not get caught. None of President's spies were able to find out about us. They do not understand our language. If we are to get in someone new, we say the item we inspected is good. Get prepared for the auction. They ask if we can go visit the item in the afternoon. They must have thought of something else. Remember, this is still not over. We will not remove the whole set of teeth of Rajapaksa. We have been taught to remove one tooth at a time. At once you will receive news that an entire portion had come out. That will happen soon.
The Minister of Higher Education says that Chandrika will be driven crazy and run in the streets in the nude. Rather than considering this as an insult to her, I see this as an insult to the entire female population in the country. If the Minister of Higher Education is saying that a woman will be driven crazy and made to run in the streets in the nude, you must think whether you are going to vote for a government like this. The Minister of Education also spoke on how dogs fall in love. This is what the Minister of Education said.
When I attempted to chase away the extortionists from Panadura, this man interfered and went on processions against me. Who? Kata, Sunil, Dagi and Sajit Puta. Who are they? Who are these people who went on processions against me? Was it me? Are these people who are attempting to correct this country? They are being kept on the laps of those people. The most popular road here is divided into two and money is being extorted. The police has no power to change this because the police too are involved. That is why this cannot be changed.
Meanwhile, another public rally of common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena was held at the Bulat Sinhala public grounds yesterday. Former chairman of the Bulat Sinhala Pradesha Sabha, Tusita Kularatne, pledged his support to Maithripala Sirisena at the forthcoming presidential election. Tusita Kularatne received the second highest number of votes in the island at the concluded Pradesha Sabha elections. He received 23,000 votes in 2011.
Former General Secretary of the United National Party, Thisatha Nayaka, has been sworn in as the Minister of Health after defecting to support President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Thisatha Nayaka was sworn in as Minister of Health in the presence of President Mahinda Rajapaksa this morning at the presidential residence in Kandy. Attanayaka's family as well as a group of ministers were present for the swearing-in. Formerly a UNP National List MP, Thisatha Nayaka resigned from his post as UNP General Secretary to support the government.
This is a big responsibility because the Ministry of Health is responsible for the entire nation. I accept this mainly because the President invited me to. I told him that I do not want any positions.
In a new turn of events, former Deputy General Secretary of the Jatika Hela Oromia, also known as the JHU, announced today that he will remain independent and support President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the 2015 presidential poll. He made this announcement during a press conference convened by the United People's Freedom Alliance.
කැපකරන ගොඩනැගු පක්ෂයෙන් මට අද ඉවත් වෙන්න සිදු වුණා. අද බොහෝ දෙනෙක් දේශපාලන පක්ෂවල ඉවත් වෙන්න කියන්නේ මට සැලකුවේ නැහැ. මට හිරියර කළා.
I have been compelled to leave the party for which I made many sacrifices. Today, when there are defections from political parties, they say that they were not treated well. I did not face any such situation, nor did I have any problem. I was treated well by my party. Today I am here because of policy reasons. Clear answers were not provided for the issues that I raised. Although I do not approve the accord reached with both Chandrika and Ranil, I have decided to remain silent for the sake of the party. I am resigning from the party today without moving forward with the majority decision. I am of the view that only the JHU should have an executive presidential system with the appropriate amendments. Sirisena cannot do both within 100 days. We believe that the judiciary, the elections, the audit and bribery and corruption commissions need to remain independent. However, the answer was not the 17th Amendment.
අපට ප්‍රශ්න තිබුණා. විමල් විරාජසමතුමාට ප්‍රශ්න තිබුණා. හෙළවුරුමේටත් ප්‍රශ්න තිබුණා. අපට ප්‍රශ්න තිබුණා. ප්‍රශ්න නැති කෙනෙක්.
We too had issues. Minister Vimal Veerawangsa also had issues. The JHU also had issues. There is no one in this party that does not have issues. However, we will never forget our main rival or the direction of our journey because of these issues. We believe that the current president will be the last president who will have these powers with the correct amendments.
අවශ්‍ය සංශෝධන සිදු කරමින්
යාපානික කරන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. ඒක නැහැ කියන්නේ. දැල්ල බඳින්න නම් බෙල්ල තියෙනවා.
There was an issue with regard to good governance. I am not saying no. To tie a chain, there needs to be a neck. If we are to tie the chain named good governance, we need to protect the neck, which is the country. There are flaws with the president. I am not saying no. The president needs to be replaced by a person who is better than him and not worse than him. Over the past 6 months, there were issues regarding various views within the party. When it was clear that the discussions with the president were not going to be successful, the majority view was for a common candidate who can appear for the Buddhists along with the Buddhist organizations. However, that stance changed.
Meanwhile, the JHU issued a communique today regarding the decision of Party Deputy General Secretary Udaya Gammanpilla to leave the party.
The communique was issued under the signature of the JHU's Media Secretary Nishanta Srivagnasinghe. The communique reads that although Udaya Gammanpilla cited policy reasons for his decision to leave the party's policy is to establish democracy and good governance. The JHU also points out that it was Udaya Gammanpilla himself that stated at the party convention that the government of President Mahinda Rajapaksa must accomplish this before the presidential election and that compromises could not be made on the matter. The JHU states further that while persons who have defected from the government or joined the government over the past several days have stated that they reached their decisions on principle or in keeping with their conscience, there are various views spreading among the people regarding these crossovers. The JHU states that it is unaware for which of these reasons Udaya Gammanpilla arrived at this decision.
The first press conference by the media spokespersons of opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena was convened today. The press conference took place at the office of the opposition leader.
Around 5,000 persons are brought into temple trees for these dansals. Who receives these orders? For the Ministry of Health, it was the secretary to the ministry who received the orders. She is helpless. My secretary too was told to bring in 5,000 fishermen. He is inquiring from me. I told him to do it because he said he was asked to do it because he is capable of doing so. He said that he had never carried out such a task in his life and that he was only in the administrative services. The minister has to pay for 5,000 rice packets, each priced at 950 rupees. I did the math. It amounts to 4.5 million rupees. I never called for the fishermen. This is a grave crime.
Former United National Party provincial councillor and test cricketer Hashan Tilakaratne announced that he has decided to pledge his support to President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the forthcoming presidential election. This announcement was made while addressing a media briefing in Colombo today.
Deputy Minister of Postal Services Sanath Jayasuriya and Parliamentarian Jayantha Katagoda were also present at this media briefing.
I
have taken a decision to render my fullest and honest support. As an active politician in the UNP and as a cricketer for many years, I came to this decision based on 3 facts.
In a political point of view, I believe that he has taken the right decision to move forward. As a fellow teammate who was with me right along, I wish Hashan and his entire family a graceful political journey. I constantly say that we must take politics on a good path. At this instance, Hashan Tilakaratne always engaged in politics in a clean and pure manner. So I believe that he will continue with this trend.
UNP parliamentarian Lakshman Kiriyala says that the government has lost 2/3 of its power, with several government ministers pledging their support to the common candidate. Now, he made this statement at a public rally in Yatinura this morning.
I am disappointed in our friend Thisathanayaka, because after suffering for many years in the opposition and when the time has come to reap the harvest, he jumped onto the sinking ship. However, he cannot change his destiny. I need to tell you another important news. The government has lost 2/3 of its power after 2 more ministers from the government defected yesterday. We can create a majority power ourselves now if we want. Now the SLFP is calling me because I too once was a part of them. So now they're calling me too. However, nothing has happened to us. Today this country is in the midst of a critical battle. President Mahinda Rajapaksa would have never expected that his General Secretary, former Mahaweli Minister and Minister of Health, Maithripala Sirisena, would stand up against his rule. Subsequent to this rally, the group present engaged in a protest march in opposition to the election-related violence which took place over the past few days in the Kandy district. The group, which marched from the UNP office in Yatinura to Pilimitalawa, created awareness among the public there.
Staying in local news, let's now take a look at some of the other views expressed on the political platform.
In an interview on Al Jazeera, Surin came and said that President Mahinda Rajapaksa must be defeated. Why? Because otherwise he would not be taken to courts for his crimes. He wants to defeat Mahinda Rajapaksa and make him an ordinary citizen, and then take him to The Hague on charges of war crimes and make him sit on the electric chair.
It was not Mahinda Rajapaksa who sat on the electric chair. It was the apparel industry of the country that had to. It was the workers in the apparel industry of the country that have had to sit in this electric chair. Factories are being closed. From 2005 to 2013, 283 factories have been shut down. Around 2 weeks ago, a decision was taken by the EU court. Why? Because Europe does not purchase fish from Sri Lanka anymore. Today, the fishing community in the Trincomalee, Gaul, Dikwela and Weligama areas have come out to the streets in protest because they have been placed on the electric chair as they cannot sell their catch.
His Excellency the President eradicated terrorism from the country. It is because of him that we can fearlessly get onto the streets. Today certain factions are talking about good governance, but I want to remind these factions how the country was before 2009. That era has been forgotten.
හැම දෙයකටම යුද්ධ විගුණ දෙයියනේ හැම දෙයකටම යුද ජයග්‍රහණ විගුණ
They are single-handedly taking credit for a war which was won by a united faction. On the 8th, shouldn't we kick them out of power for their thievery and for giving away almost half of the country to China? Sri Lanka was referred to as the pearl of the Indian Ocean, but what do we have to call it now?
ශ්‍රී ලංකාව ඉන්දිය සාගරයේ මුතු ඇටේ කියලා. දැන් කියන්න තියෙන්නේ කොහොමද? දැන් කියන්න තියෙන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාව කියන්නේ ඉන්දිය සාගරේ චීනගේ කියලා.
Maithripala Sirisena මැතිතුමා
Maithripala Sirisena never cited any place where a strike was staged. There were 2 presidential elections, 3 provincial council elections and 4 municipal council elections. Did he come for any of those? No. It is with regret that we would like to remind you in terms of politics, although he sat in his office as a secretary, he is not a person who worked with the general public. There were others who contested like this. 5 years ago it was Fonseca. Remember? I say to you that Maithripala Sirisena will suffer a more severe defeat than that.
ඊටත් වඩා පරාජයකට මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන වැටෙනවා කියන ටික අපි තමුන්නාන්සලට කියනවා. මේ රට මේ අයගෙන් බේර ගන්නවද ඒකාධිපති පාලනයෙන්?
We are deciding whether we are to save this country from these people, this dictatorial rule and this corrupt group. Today, every force has united to topple this dictatorial rule. On the 8th of next month, our common candidate, Maithripala Sirisena, will be elected president with a majority of over 1 million votes.
In a media release titled Electing a President, the Critical Days Ahead, the Friday Forum says that the presidential election of 8th January 2015 is significant not only because it is the first time an incumbent president is seeking office for a 3rd term, but also because it is the first presidential election conducted after the 18th Amendment to the Constitution.
The Friday Forum calls upon the Commissioner of Election and officials of his department, officials of the Elections Department and all public officers concerned with the conduct of the election to implement the election laws independently and impartially and to take necessary action to prevent violations of the law, especially the Constitution and the Presidential Elections Act. In its media release, the Friday Forum notes that the role of the police has been called into question at many elections, adding that there has been a perception that the appointment of the present secretary to the Ministry of Law and Order has been effected to ensure the pliability of the police at election time. The Friday Forum also strongly condemned the misuse of state property during the campaign and the use of any authority to commit corrupt acts tantamount to bribery or treating and call upon the candidates to publicly declare their programs of action and commitments with target dates. It adds that the state media should not be abused in favor of the candidate of the ruling party. The Friday Forum calls upon the people, including civil society and grassroots leaders, to be mindful that the present election is perhaps the most crucial this nation has faced in many years, and that the public have a vital role.
Writing a letter to Minister of Higher Education S.B. Dissanayake, Professor A.N.I. Ekanayake, Professor Emeritus at the Faculty of Dental Sciences, University of Peradeniya, states that after watching Sirasa News recently, he was outraged to observe the minister's crude and obscene reference to dashing a female political opponent on the floor, stripping her and sending her naked.
Professor A.N.I. Ekanayake, in a letter titled Crude and Obscene Language by Minister of Higher Education, states, quote, "This may be the most recent example of disgusting public utterances by you as Minister of Higher Education," unquote. Professor Ekanayake recollects that in 2005, when S.B. Dissanayake was imprisoned, he played a leading role in drafting the bold press statement signed by 30 respected academic staff criticizing the unfair judgment of the Chief Justice. He, however, adds in the letter, quote, "Now, observing your sordid public utterances as Minister of Higher Education, I feel that you are unworthy of that principled, dispassionate intervention on your behalf by decent members of the academic community," unquote. Professor Ekanayake questions how a higher education minister who makes such offensive public utterances can presume to give leadership to the higher education sector. He adds that education ministers who make such crude and undignified public utterances can never command the respect of students. More likely, they will deservedly evoke the ridicule and contempt of both students and teachers.
In business news tonight, the prices of vegetables sold in the market have risen exponentially, inconveniencing consumers. The price of a kilogram of capsicum sold at the Dambulla Economic Centre stands at 350 rupees.
The prices of vegetables have been on the rise over the past few days and have reached a level where the consumers cannot bear the cost anymore. The wholesale prices of vegetables such as beetroot, carrot and beans were ranging between 150 to 200 rupees per kilogram at the Dambulla Economic Centre. The traders' union at the Dambulla Economic Centre stated that the wholesale prices of low-grown vegetables such as luffa, snake gourd and brinjal stood at 100 rupees per kilogram.
The quantity of vegetables that arrive at the Dambulla Economic Centre has dropped. The reason for this is the heavy rainfall that was received over the recent past. Vegetables that were priced at 35 rupees over 3 months ago are now being sold at 90 rupees. Nevertheless, in the retail market, these vegetables are fetching exorbitant prices.
Usually we purchase 500 grams. Now we cannot even purchase 250 grams because of the high prices.
If you come with 500 rupees, you cannot purchase vegetables to fill even a half a polythene bag because of the high prices.
Up next is Action TV.
This plot of land in the Anuradhapura municipality is one which provides shelter to both residents of and visitors to the city in the dry season. There is also a group of people who use this strip of land which is sandwiched between the natural park maintained by the municipal council, the court complex and sports stadium. These are the mobile vendors who sell vegetables and fruits. The Anuradhapura Municipal Council, which has a history of violating the city plan, having recently violated road planning to erect rows of shops, had also previously made an attempt to clear the Green Park for a construction. However, this was prevented through the intervention of the Eastern Gampalata Divisional Secretary.
This jungle was not one that was planted by the municipal council. It was planted by the people of this area several years ago.
However, the strip of greenery is now being cleared against a backdrop where the divisional secretary has been issued a transfer and the assistant divisional secretary is executing the duties of that position at present.
We condemn the destruction that is being wrought by the municipal council adjacent to the sports stadium without having submitted any project plan. They are trying to turn this area into a desert.
Shouldn't the arid leaders who are destroying the only breathing space in an arid city be re-educated on the principles and concepts of the Mahinda Chintanaya? District Secretary of Anuradhapura, this is over to you.
Well, the heavy rains experienced in Colombo this evening inundated the Peta area. Newsfirst Joel Outskun joins us live from Peta with the latest. Joel?
Well, thank you, Shaheen. Now I'm currently standing at Olcott Mawata in Peta, and if I'm going to talk to you about the current situation here, owing to the incessant rains in the area, the left lane has been completely inundated owing to high levels of water, and the vehicular traffic has actually come to a very slow pace because the left lane has been inundated. And also the shops in the vicinity are also facing a problem because the water levels have increased, and also the rain still persists, and we could see that the pedestrians are finding it really hard to travel by the side of the road. And this is the current situation here in Olcott Mawata. So stay with News First. We'll be bringing you the very latest. I'm Joel Outskun for News First.
On to sports news, it's cricket. An unbeaten 104 from Joe Root guided England to a 5-wicket victory in the 5th One-Day International against Sri Lanka in Pallekele.
Sri Lanka, who took first lease of the wicket yesterday at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium, could only score 239 all-out in 49 overs after seamer Chris Wokes restricted Sri Lanka with 6 for 47 before rain intervened. Kumar Sangakkara top scored for the Lankan Lions with 91 runs. With rain interrupting play, the match referee decided to continue the game today. Under-fire England skipper Alistair Cook, returning to the top of the order following his one-match ban for his team's slow overweight, was unable to silence his critics, however, although he began with a positive intent under clear skies by outing 2 boundaries in the opening over. Joe Root made his 3rd ODI century today, with James Taylor contributing with 68. Shatito Senanaika bagged 2 wickets for 35 runs in his 10 overs.
And that's a wrap from all of us here at News First. Reminder, If you missed out on any of the stories we aired tonight, you can log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. I'm Sonali Wanigabaduge.
And I'm Shahan Jarampati. Good night.